fall camp has been going on now for the past couple of weeks. And as of recording this video, I'm recording this the morning of August 20th. We are 1 week away from the start of the college football season. And man, is it just that close? We can feel it, right? The energy is coming up. But we do have to talk about some pretty key things first. Long-term injuries have been a huge part of this season's fall camp up to this point, and a lot of teams are getting bit by the injury bug. This video is going to be focused on long-term injuries, so if there's a guy in your favorite team that's questionable for your team's first game, that update will come at a later time. I'm using the whiteboard this year for more of like injury update, news videos, things like that. In those videos, I plan to put out every single Friday for you guys as kind of a weekly update on what's going around or on what's going on around the nation. But what's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be talking about long-term injuries, some fall camp news, which mainly is going to be related around quarterback battles. And then I got a little box down here surrounding a certain conference that I would like to talk about. But if you are new to this channel or, hey, you enjoy my content, I appreciate all the support that I've gotten this off season. Guys, we're so close to the start of the college football season. Please like, comment, subscribe. Anything you can to help support the channel does mean a lot to me. And let's go ahead and dive in. So the website I used for this was covers.com. So if the injury is not on covers.com, it likely is not here on this board. And I do want to stress something before we dive into it. There have been some instances where players are getting carted off the field during fall camp and during practice and scrimmages. Getting carted off the field in fall camp, I believe Josh Pate talked about this on his show, The Late Kick. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest you go check it out. You'll learn something new every single show. When you go ahead and look at players getting carted off in fall camp, not the same thing as players getting carted off in the regular season game. If the cart comes out in the regular season, well, it's likely bad news. But guys get carted off the field all the time in fall camp for cramps, for dehydration, for they rolled an ankle. Like, they get carted off the field all the time for stuff like that. More likely than not the worst case scenario. Yes, it's something to keep your eye on, but more likely than not, do not panic and look for the worst case scenario. Just keep an eye on it. Things should be okay. Let's dive in to the injury report. And yeah, there is a lot, so I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible, but if it goes a little long, I do apologize. So, sorry, microphone's kind of in frame here. Deal with it. Couple group of 5 teams I want to start out. In the Mid-American Conference, where Northern Illinois is going to look to win their second straight conference title, they're going to have to do it without one of their better wide receivers. Trayvon Rudolph is going to be out for the season due to a knee injury. So that's a pretty key substantial loss for Northern Illinois. And then for South Alabama here as well, they're going to be without, I believe he was their leading rusher last year in Damian Bivens. Now, they did get a transfer, I believe, over from Florida State in LaDamian Webb, who now definitely will be that #1 guy as Bivens is out for the season with a neck injury. So 2 pretty key losses to some group of 5 teams. Let's dive into the Big 12 Conference. Now, the only news I have out of the Big 12 is the news that you guys have probably heard a million times by now. Texas has been dealing with the injury bug, probably worse than a lot of other teams around the nation, but their second receiving option, well, presumably their second receiver option this year in Isaiah Nair is going to be out for the season with a knee injury, and that is huge. They still have guys like Xavier Worthy, but, I mean, wide receiver room, taking a big hit there, as well as the offensive line room. Junior Angelo, I probably said that last name wrong. I apologize. He's going to be out for the season with a knee injury of his own. And on an offensive line that had a lot of questions coming into this year, you probably lose your probably most experienced and veteran option. So the offensive line going to look really young this year. And even another wide receiver, Ajayi Hall, is going to be out indefinitely serving a suspension. Fall camp, been a little bit rough for Texas up to this point. However, there is, in my opinion, some good news that comes out of it. Throw that away. Quarterback Quinn Ewers has been named that starting option at his position. He's the highest upside guy there within the Texas program. He will be starting that Week 1 game against the University of Louisiana Monroe, and presumably he's going to be that starting option against Alabama in Week 2. So interesting to watch whether or not Hudson Card ends up coming in and getting some time, but Quinn Ewers, for right now, is that starting option at the quarterback position. Down to the FBS Independents, we'll start out with UConn and New Mexico State. Cameron Ross is going to be out indefinitely. He is dealing with a foot injury, and that's a pretty key loss to a UConn team that is looking to improve this year and probably will get at least somewhat better this year, but they're going to have to do it for at least the time being without one of their better wide receivers in Cameron Ross. The quarterback battle starting to take shape in New Mexico State. Well, it's going to have to be done without Dino Maldonado, the backup last year, and in my opinion, favorite coming into this upcoming season is going to be out for the year with a shoulder injury. Now, there are still some transfers there, some guys within the program that are going to be solid options. Dino Maldonado, though, out for the season with a shoulder injury. Let's dive into Notre Dame now. Notre Dame has also been bit by the injury bug a lot harder than most teams around the nation. Wide receiver Avery Davis tore his ACL last year, and coming into this camp was going to be one of their more veteran and experienced options in that wide receiver room. And now you lose him for the year. Tore his other ACL, so he is going to be done for the season. And Notre Dame's got a huge matchup in week 1. Ohio State awaits in the Horseshoe. That is a huge loss for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, losing Avery Davis. Tight end depth going to be tested a little bit as well, as Mitchell Evans is going to be out indefinitely due to a foot injury. Now, this team does have one of the best tight ends in the nation in Michael Mayer, but tight end depth still important on a team like Notre Dame, especially now that Avery Davis is going to be out. Mitchell Evans, he's out indefinitely with a foot injury. However, some good news, Tyler Buchner is named that starting quarterback. However, he might be dealing with an injury of his own. I'll report on that at a later date, but Tyler Buchner will be that starting quarterback for the Irish in 2022. For Clemson, as we dive into the ACC here, Clemson, Troy Stellato was a depth option at the wide receiver position. He's out for the season with a knee injury. And on the best defensive line in the country, in my opinion, Xavier Thomas, a pretty key part of that defensive line, is going to be out till it looks like late September with a foot injury. So, again, Clemson has a lot of tune-up games this year, so Xavier Thomas not really missing any huge game out there. So should be back ready to go before they get into ACC play. But I would still watch out and see how Xavier Thomas progresses. As of right now, out till late September. But with the foot injury, you never know, could get worse. I'd keep an eye on it, but as of this point, late September is when he's projected to get back on the field. For Florida State, couple key pieces out for the season as well. Caden Lyles, well, don't know necessarily a key piece, but a depth option at the offensive line. Caden Lyles out for the season in an undisclosed injury. And then CJ Campbell, running back depth, taking a hit there. He's out for the season with a leg injury. Running back depth is also going to be taking a hit at a program at Miami. So Miami's running back depth going to be tested a little bit as well. Donald Chaney is going to be out indefinitely for an undisclosed reason. And then Trevante Citizen is going to be out indefinitely due to an undisclosed reason there as well. So 2 depth options at the running back position going to be out for what seems like a lengthy period of time. Who knows when they'll be able to get back on the football field. A huge blow here, or I should say a couple huge blows for North Carolina, a team that's looking to turn this season, or turn the past couple seasons around, looking to turn things around at the program, really get some momentum going. They're going to have to do it without their starting running back. British Brooks is going to be out for the season with a lower body injury. And wide receiver Antoine Green, who probably is that second best option at the wide receiver position behind DJ Downs, is going to be out until late October with an upper body injury. So pretty huge long-term losses for North Carolina this season. Virginia Tech's going to be dealing with some pretty big losses as well, as Malachi Thomas was going to be that starting option at running back. He's out indefinitely due to an undisclosed injury. A depth option at the wide receiver position, Dallin Wright, he's going to be out for the season with an undisclosed injury. You want some good news about Virginia Tech? Sure, I'll give it to you. Grant Wells, the Marshall transfer, named that starting quarterback for Virginia Tech. So we'll see what Virginia Tech can do. They're bringing in a new head coach, dealing with some injuries now. We'll see when Malachi Thomas is able to get back on to the field, but as of right now, you're going to have to win some games without him. They play games like West Virginia, some tricky games to start off the season for Virginia Tech. And then, of course, you guys have probably all heard about this one as well. Sam Hartman is going to be out indefinitely due to a non-football related illness. Who knows when he's going to be able to get back on the field. That is a huge blow to a program like Wake Forest. All right, let me move a little bit even further over this way so you guys can kind of see these. Iowa's wide receiver depth is going to be tested a little bit early this season, as Jackson Ritter is going to be out for the year, and Deontay Vines is going to be out till late October. Jackson Ritter, an undisclosed injury. Deontay Vines out for, again, an extended period of time due to a wrist injury. So a couple key pieces of the wide receiver position for Iowa leaving, and that's a huge part. Or not, I shouldn't say key piece, couple depth options for Iowa at the wide receiver end. They're going to have to deal without for the time being. Of course, Deontay Vines could come back this season, but I mean, that's a wide receiver room that's got some things to improve on, got some things to really prove out. Nebraska has been dealing with some injuries there as well. They have an offensive lineman who's going to be out for the season dealing with a suspension, so he will not be playing football this year, and I believe he was running starts at left guard, right guard, a guard position, I do believe, is where that offensive lineman was running out. Neralen Nawili, probably said that name wrong, so I apologize to Husker fans everywhere, but he is out for the season, serving a suspension. And then Dakotas Crawford is going to be out indefinitely with a knee injury. A depth option at the wide receiver position. Former LSU commit flipped over to Nebraska. By the way, has one of the best NIL commercials I've ever seen. But Dakotas Crawford going to be out for an extended period of time at the time being. Ohio, and then as well as some Nebraska news, Casey Thompson, I think that to the surprise of absolutely no one, was named that starting quarterback for the Big Red. So he will get the majority of the snaps this upcoming season. Again, to the surprise of pretty much no one. Ohio State's been bit by the injury bug a little bit as well. There's a depth option at linebacker that, again, as an Ohio State fan, I've been made aware of, but wasn't really a guy that was going to get a lot of playing time this year. But Evan Pryor, presumably the third-string running back coming into this year, is going to be out for the season with a knee injury. So Ohio State's running back depth going to be tested a little bit this year as well. Purdue got a couple key losses at the time being. Tight end Garrett Miller is going to be out for the season with a knee injury, so testing the tight end depth there as well. And then a defensive lineman, Demarhe Lewis, I apologize if I said that name wrong. He's going to be out indefinitely due to a lower body injury. And as we continue along with the Big Ten Conference, a huge loss for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights is one of their best defensive linemen, Mohamed Toure. He's going to be out for the season due to an undisclosed injury. So the Big Ten getting hit by some injury bugs there as well, and some pretty key losses for their respective teams. Let's dive into the Mountain West now, as we have wide receiver TJ Sullivan for San Diego State is going to be out for the season with a knee injury. Now, they still have guys like Jesse Matthews and some other players there at that wide receiver position, and it's an offense that should get better this upcoming season, but TJ Sullivan was going to be probably the second or third leading target on this team, and you lose him for the year. Pretty substantial loss there. Gunnar Gentry, who was going to be one of, if not their best wide receivers at the University of Wyoming, he is going to be out for the season with a knee injury there as well. So, so far, what have you guys seen? A lot of knee injuries, right? A lot of guys blowing out their knees, and that is still true as we move into the Pac-12. Defensive lineman Michael Matus, however you say that last name again, I apologize to Sun Devil fans anywhere, but the Arizona State defensive lineman, he's going to be out for the season, suffered a knee injury there as well. A linebacker for Oregon State, Ryan Frank, he's going to be out for this. Ryan Frankie, again, if you say that E or not, he's out for the season with a leg injury, so a depth option at linebacker is going to be gone there for Oregon State. USC, the team that won the transfer portal, is not without their fair share of injuries there as well. Jude Wolfe, a tight end that, again, testing the tight end depth, he's out indefinitely with a foot injury. And then you have a defensive lineman, Corey Foreman, who's going to be out for the first couple games of the season with an undisclosed injury. So he's out until around mid-September. We'll see when he's able to get back on the football field. But USC dealing with their fair share of injuries as they are trying to get Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams acclimated, and this USC team looking to get out of the gate strong. The Washington programs are dealing with some injuries as well. Edefwan Ulofashio is going to be out till late September with an arm injury. He's been dealing with injuries his entire college career. We'll see if he can stay healthy after this injury. And then Washington State, the Cougars, dealing with some injuries there as well. Wide receiver CJ Moore, pretty solid option at the wide receiver position. He's out for the season with an undisclosed injury. Then an offensive lineman, I believe their starting guard center. He was a starting piece on the offensive lineman. I can't remember what position. Roderick Tailgate, he's out for the season as well with another yet undisclosed injury. As I move myself over here, we'll take a look at this column. I just gotta move over my stuff, and we'll take a look at stuff over here. But let's start out now with the SEC as we go over here. Wide receiver JoJo Earl, not only just a wide receiver, but also a kick returner for the Alabama Crimson Tide there as well. He's going to be out until around, it seems, mid-October with a foot injury. So pretty key loss there for Alabama. Depth piece at the wide receiver position and a pretty good return man. You're going to lose him for an extended period of time. Dominique Johnson is going to be out indefinitely for the Arkansas Razorbacks due to an undisclosed injury. Probably was going to be that second option at the running back position. Who knows when he is able to come back for the Hogs. In the in the Florida Gators program in Gainesville, you got a wide receiver in Ricky Purcell. However you say that last name again, I apologize to Gators fans everywhere. But Ricky Purcell, the transfer out of Arizona State, he's going to be out indefinitely with an undisclosed injury. Then you also have a quarterback in Jack Miller, the Ohio State transfer, who was battling out with Anthony Richardson for that starting job. I don't think he was going to end up getting that starting job, but now it is Anthony Richardson's job fully. Jack Miller going to be out indefinitely due to a thumb injury. So two pretty key losses for the Florida Gators there. What probably was going to be their best wide receiver in Ricky Purcell is going to be out for, it seems, an extended period of time. And then, of course, Jack Miller, if anything were to happen to Anthony Richardson, Jack Miller probably would have been that backup, and now he is out there as well. Georgia, the reigning national champions, have a depth piece of the wide receiver position gone down for an indefinite amount of time, as Arian Smith is going to be a name that is going to be gone from that Georgia program indefinitely, so who knows when he is able to return to the field. Running back depth going to be tested for Tennessee here as Lyneth Whitehead. He's going to be out for the season with an upper body injury. Was a big depth piece, or not necessarily like big, and like he was a long, odd depth piece at this Tennessee. I believe third, fourth, or fifth string at the running back position, so you do lose him off there. And then finally in the SEC, a depth option on the defensive line for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Miles Capers is going to be out for the season with a knee injury there as well. And as we move now into the final conference we're talking about, the American Athletic, C.J. Johnson is still suspended. Who knows when he's going to be able to be back? Again, he was suspended for kind of not living up to the expectations of the program, so the head coach has given him some things that he's had to do. And to my knowledge, up to this point, he has not done those things. So who knows when the Pirates will get C.J. Johnson back on the football field, if at all, this upcoming season. But that's a pretty key loss. He's been one of their better wide receivers. And C.J. Johnson, who knows when he gets back on the football field. A huge loss here for the Houston Cougars is Alton McCaskill. This has been known for a while, but again, it's a pretty big injury. I got to put it on the board. He's going to be out for the season with, you guessed it, a knee injury. So Alton McCaskill not going to be playing football for the Houston Cougars this season. And again, running backs going to need to step up for Houston, as McCaskill was a really good player for them last year. They will sadly be without him this upcoming season. And then a running back, Kelly Joyner, for the South Florida Bulls. He's going to be out until it seems like late September with a foot injury there as well. So they do have some transfers coming in at the running back position. So guys that need to step up a little bit. But South Florida going to be without Kelly Joyner for, it seems like, a little bit. Now let's talk about this box down here. So that's kind of my injury report. Again, if there was an injury that I missed on your favorite team, go ahead, leave it down in the comment section below. Please leave down like long-term injuries, guys that are going to be out till late September, mid-October, maybe even early November, or guys that are going to be done for the season. Leave those in this comment section below, because I am aware that there are a lot more injuries on this board of guys that are questionable for their respective games, and I will talk about that at a later date. Again, I'll try to do these videos every Friday, Thursday, Friday, something along those lines. But let's talk about this box. I should point at the other hand. This box right down here. Let's talk about the Big Ten Conference a little bit, because they just signed a huge new TV deal with CBS, Fox, NBC, worth, get ready for this number, $7 billion roughly over 7 years. The deal is going to expire at the end of the 2029-2030 college football season. And I mean, huge. Notice ESPN's not on that list. ESPN actually rejected the Big Ten's final offer, not willing to pay the Big Ten what the Big Ten thought it was worth. All of these three guys were. So CBS, Fox, NBC are going to be Big Ten's networks of choice. And this doesn't go for football as well. This goes for basketball. They've been airing basketball games on CBS for quite some time now. But now you will see no more Big Ten basketball on ESPN. No more Big Ten football on ESPN, as it seems like right now. So Fox is going to end up getting that noon slot. CBS going to end up getting that 3:30 slot, and NBC will be primetime. Going to be interesting to see how NBC competes with Notre Dame for what primetime slot gets where. That'll be interesting. Notre Dame yet to sign an agreement, and the Pac-12 yet to sign an agreement now as well. So the Pac-12, we'll see what happens with that media contract there, because the Pac-12, ESPN, probably going to be shelling out a lot of money for the Pac-12 now. Now, it's not as attractive of a product as the Big Ten. I don't think we can deny that, but it's still a pretty solid product nonetheless, and it may help keep the conference alive as conference realignment talks are still kind of plaguing the Pac-12 as of right now. So $80 to $100 million are going to be allotted per school annually, and that is with the move of USC and UCLA starting at around the 2024 season once that SEC deal with CBS expires. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that's going to be more around the 120, or assuming the 100 to $120 million range. I think it's going to be a triple. I think it's going to be 9 figures. What I mean to say for most teams in the Big Ten Conference. And speaking of USC and UCLA, of course, I did a video a little bit ago on my thoughts surrounding that move. UCLA could be kept out of the Big Ten Conference. Now, I really should have been pointing with a marker this video. My finger's kind of blending in with the green screen. That doesn't even work. But anyway, focus your attention down here. Could USC be, or not USC, USC, it's a private institution. They're really allowed to do whatever they want. So them moving to the Big Ten, not really a big shock. UCLA, though, they're part of the University of California system, which does include Berkeley. So there are a couple different ways that I'm thinking in my mind this could go. This could go. The move to the Big Ten could then just include Cal. So then Cal is a part of the Big Ten there as well, which, again, I see as unlikely, but it's a possibility. Could happen. Now, there have been a lot of talks, and the governor of California has been really involved in all of this and saying that UCLA had to talk to people first and whatever. But a lot of people that then are in that room and kind of discussing this whole thing really seem to have no semblance of an idea of college athletics, from what I've read, at least. Now, there are some good articles and things out there that I highly recommend that you go read. But UCLA, could they be kept out of the Big Ten? We'll have to kind of wait and see on that one. That's going to be an interesting story to watch as UCLA just kind of picked itself up and moved. And to us, as college football fans and college sports fans in general, again, UCLA has a really good basketball program, and the Big Ten, seen by many as the premier basketball conference in the nation. But when you look at UCLA from an athletic standpoint, it wasn't too far-fetched for them to just pick themselves up and move to the Big Ten. That did not seem like it was that big of a deal. But for UCLA and for Californians, and for especially California at Berkeley, which we all know is Cal University, I mean, this is a big deal. So we'll see if UCLA is going to be kept out of the Big Ten. Again, they're planning to move in 2024. I don't expect anything to come out relatively soon about UCLA not allowed to go to the Big Ten, or UCLA the move gets approved. But we'll see what happens. That's a storyline that I would keep an eye on. So a lot of news surrounding the Big Ten this offseason as well. Again, if you guys feel like I missed anything newsworthy, please leave it in the comment section down below. I know I'm not going to be able to catch everything. And if there's a long-term injury that is plaguing your favorite team, again, leave that in the comment section down below as well. I appreciate you guys, as always, for clicking on the video. Like the video, subscribe, do anything you can. I apologize for whatever my green screen was doing today. That might happen in these news videos. But hey, I appreciate you guys for watching. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. College football is just a week away, guys. Get excited. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.